a beautiful and historic music venue. It is also a benefit for the performers, the tarot readers, and the musicians who are performing, presenting, offering for you tonight on this full moon. I have a little altar here that I've set up for the show. I'm not usually very, I don't talk about being spiritual very much, but earlier I was playing a private stream show for my patrons, and I had decided to play this song about my grandmother, and the song is about racing across the country to watch my grandmother die. And that was the point. That's why I raced across the country, was just to be there for that moment when she transitioned to whatever is on the other side. Maybe it's nothing, maybe it's something, but I wanted to be there for that moment. And I've known that for a long time. And so I played this song for my patrons earlier, and then I told this story because the song is really emotional for me, really hard to play. And also feels good and healing. And I feel that moment so present in my body since I witnessed my grandmother pass over. It has felt just very present. So I've been feeling her even more so in my body today since telling the story of watching her passing. And so I've set up this little altar, and this is a crystal that she had in her house, sitting right next to, on a windowsill right next to the chair that she always sat in, among many crystals. This is just one. These are my grandfather's ashes. These are my best friend Sophia's ashes. And here's a photo of my great-grandparents, the parents of my grandmother, whose crystal this was. And her father was sort of a warlock. He went to see psychics and tarot readers and palm readers, and he had all these what my grandmother called eccentric friends. But he passed that on to her, and she believed in it to some extent, and was a witch. She was a witch, though she wouldn't personally identify that way. So that's what I'm embodying for the full moon and this show. So thank you for watching. We have a tarot reading to start by Heartbone Arts. That's going to be about 20 minutes. And hopefully we're having some technical problems with our first musical performer, Phantom Tides, in Oakland. So we'll see if we can fix that in time while the tarot reading is happening for you. We'll try to figure that out. So hopefully you'll be hearing Phantom Tides. I'm getting a package delivered right now, and so now there's dogs barking. And then Sister Temperance Tarot. Oh, I'll perform. And then Sister Temperance Tarot is going to close us out with an offering and a prayer. So without further ado, here is Heartbone Arts.
Hey guys and gals and everyone who doesn't identify as either of those or a blend and in-betweens. I'm all nervous and excited to be here with y'all. So I'm gonna do a little grounding exercise for all of us, and especially for myself, because I feel like I really need it. But I think it's really important for us to learn grounding exercises, learn how to feel our breath in our bodies. So just taking a moment to check in and feel where your breath is in your body. Feel if it's up high in your chest or down low in your belly. And just taking a couple moments there, not pushing it to do something different than it would normally do, Just connecting with it and seeing if you can feel roots growing down. Imagine you're a tree with roots growing down into the earth, rooting you and keeping you stable. And your breath is riding along those roots going down. We ask that we be open and receptive to whatever information is wanting to come through tonight. May we hear it with ease and clarity. May you put it to work on your paths in the best and most empowering way moving forward. And so it is. So yeah, Scorpio full flower moon. Love that Scorpio, you know? It's like all the stuff that's below the surface, all the subconscious stuff. And it's also, Scorpio is an amazing energy of transformation and like kind of peeling back the layers and getting to the nitty-gritty of things. So if folks are feeling like stuff is coming up from the depths, this Scorpio full moon, this is the time. And full moons are great for any kind of releasing work. So I think most importantly is just see if you can hold space and allow whatever is arising to arise without judgments. Sometimes our feelings feel like they'll kill us, but they won't. Let's see what the cards have to say. All right. Interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna shift my screen down so you all can see the table, I hope. And yeah, so everybody's favorites making an appearance. The Tower. This is the Wild Unknown deck by Kim Kranz. The Tower is this situation that we're going through now, this upheaval. Everything kind of, the rug getting pulled out from under us in this massive way. It's interesting, in the spread that I use, this is in the gift position. This card, this upheaval, is actually shaking us to our core, but I think that some very important stuff is being revealed in the process. We're really not able to cling to our version of reality. Everything is up for question. So it's definitely, there's a lot of instability that comes with that, but there's a chance to sort of have a reconfiguration as well, a reprioritization, and really just sort of, you know, see what is really important to you. What is actually creating stability for yourself in your life? Is it the stuff that you thought was creating stability? Or are there other things that keep you grounded and stable that actually might be really more important? So the Tower is asking us to consider all of this here in the gift position, along with death, the Death card at the heart of the matter, right? So all of the transition, all of the loss, all of the actual death. Generally in the tarot, the Death card doesn't necessarily mean a physical death, an actual death, but we are definitely, I'll come back a little bit, we're definitely witnessing a lot of death right now, and we're really in touch more than ever with impermanence of all kinds. You know, when we lose our job, that's impermanence, that's a death, it's an upheaval. Both of these working together, it doesn't take a lot to understand what these two are talking about. for us right now. But the blessings that are available with these cards, they're the kind that in the moment don't always feel like blessings. They don't always feel like gifts. They feel like your whole world is falling apart and everything's messed up. And it's the kind of stuff that with some hindsights, we're able to look back and sort of see what really was dredged up from the surface that was important for us to look at. I know that a lot of my tarot clients right now are experiencing a lot of grief coming up, and it's grieving that's not necessarily about stuff that's happening right now, but what's happening now is bringing that stuff, any unhealed, any unresolved grief and trauma is coming up to the surface. And I feel that it's coming up for release. It's coming up so that we can feel it. You know, there's that expression that you have to feel it in order to heal it. You have to allow it to come up and be with it in order to release it. So Death in the Tower really bringing us to our knees in a lot of ways, you know, and face to face with the fundamental impermanence of this physical form, this physical body, you know, and the beauty that is also there in that, the fact that as we transition, we become the fertilizer for what will grow. And the little deaths in our lives are that way as well. The things that pass away, the things that fall away, create the new growth. They feed the new growth. They make space for the new growth. When the tower falls, this structure that we've been trying to hold together with duct tape, sometimes when we just allow it to fall, when we stop trying to patch up all the cracks and we let it fall, all of a sudden we have all of these resources and all of this energy that we can dedicate to something else. You know, so sometimes it's time for faulty structures to fall. Sometimes it's time for dysfunctional systems to collapse in on themselves, right? And then we can create something that is healthier and meant to stand there. We also have the 9 of Wands. You know, when you feel like you've been beat up and you've been embattled, keep going. You're not as far away as you think you are from what it is that you're trying to create. Hang in there. Don't give up on yourself. You know, 9 of Wands can be a card where we really feel like we don't have the strength to go on. Like, how do we keep showing up for this stuff in the face of uncertainty, in the face of death and impermanence and instability, right? In the face of upheaval, how do we keep pressing on? Interestingly, at the root of the matter for us, the Father of Pentacles is really a card that's been coming up for me, for my clients, and feels really hopeful because this character is really in full ownership of their abundance, their sense of abundance and prosperity within the material realm. So that's something that I know a lot of folks are really not feeling right now. They're not really feeling financially secure or stable. Not that Pentacles is really only about your home and your finances, but Pentacles is this material reality, this material world, and it often is our job, our money, the things that make us feel stable and grounded and secure and connected to our resources, right? But it's also nature. It's the element of earth. And one of the things that's been most hopeful to me is the way that the earth is regenerating in this time of less traffic and fossil fuel usage, and all the hopeful signs of the planet getting a break feel really good to me. And, you know, this Father of Pentacles energy is this strong sense of being provided for. This is a provider. This is someone who holds it down for you, who holds space for you, who opens doors to opportunities for you. This is getting in touch with your own ability to be in a mastery position with regard to getting grounded and getting settled, getting connected to what really provides resources for you in your life. You're in a position of such abundance that you have the opportunity to actually open the door and help others. So this is the foundational card. And then interestingly, in the future position, we have the Four of Pentacles. So it's an interesting card because the Four is stability. It's a stable structure, stability that can tend towards stagnation, where we become so, we're holding on. There's a quality of the Four of Pentacles that is really risk averse and is just really holding on, clinging on so tightly to what stability we have. So in a Four of Pentacles moment, we can actually be really stable. We can be all right, but we don't feel like we are. We feel like we need to cling on tightly. It's like a lack-based consciousness where we feel like we have to hold on tightly so that we don't lose what little stability we have. So this is an interesting little cocktail that we've got going on. I'm going to tilt the screen down again so you can see them here out on the table. But the story they're really telling me is just that, you know, at the heart of all of this transition, all of this impermanence, all of this sense of shift and change, of the end of things as we've known it, and then this space that's being opened for what's to come, that's really at the heart of everything for us. And flanking that, we have this, you know, kind of urging us on, feeling like, hey, don't give up. Don't give up on what it is you really want to create. Okay, wands are all about our creations and our desires. And so the Nine of Wands is about really not giving up on what it is you want to create, sticking with it, even if you feel that it's further away than ever sometimes. You know, it's just hanging in there. Seeing if you can relax the ways in which you are clinging to stability or to clinging to the old stories, to the old structures, seeing if you can touch into your fundamental safety and stability, even in the midst of all of the transition, because at the root of things, there's a strong energy holding space for us to really access our fundamental abundance and support and our resources. The things that are falling away are in the position of the gift. The structures that are being upset and the things that are falling away are coming in as a gift right now. And it may not be a gift that we're really comfortable in receiving, but it's a gift nonetheless. So that's what I'm seeing here, you know. And the Scorpio full moon really is, it's a time when all that stuff is like in our face. It's really in interpersonal relationships, in just starting the live show today, like having challenges with the technology and all the things that rattle our cages, from the smallest, most insignificant things to the really deep subconscious stuff that we have going on, that we're all getting a much closer look at, because a lot of our devices that we've used historically to distract ourselves, you know, we can't really engage in them. We're kind of having a lot of time alone with ourselves to really be with ourselves, to be with that stuff. You know, so we're getting a big healthy dose of what it's like to be with ourselves. And do we like that person? Do we want to hang out with them? And if it's challenging, then why? And what needs to fall away, both internally and externally? Scorpio full moon is a really good time for releasing some of that stuff that may be holding you back, internally, externally. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm seeing here. I'm gonna ask I don't know if I can ask for questions from the crowd, or maybe it doesn't really work that way on this platform. I don't know if any guests can chat with me and ask questions. Sarah, do you know if guests can chat or no? Maybe they can't.
They can, in a way. Sarah can look at the chats and then she can put a question in like this little banner down here that says where to donate.
Okay.
She can cut and paste the questions in there so that people can see them and you can see them.
Okay, so I can open it up to any questions from folks if Sarah wants to do that. Help me out with that. Or Zoe, if you want to just come on and do your magic. I don't know. I'm open to whatever. No questions yet. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, a lot of times with the tarot, this is like telling us stuff that we're pretty familiar with here. We know that we're facing massive upheaval and major transition. That's no big surprise, right? But I find that tarot often can be a confirmation for us and a validation. And I think that during this time of experiencing this instability, when we do maybe feel like we really don't have the strength to keep going, this 9 of Wands moment, in the face of all this transition and upheaval, being kind to ourselves, being our own Father of Pentacles, doing the things that really put us in touch with stability, really taking care of our bodies, getting out in nature, connecting to nature, even if it's just in your own backyard, getting your hands in the dirt, getting out of the head and into the physical body, right? The Father of Pentacles is a master of embodiment, right? Not only of financial abundance and material resources, but yeah, just really like getting grounded, getting connected, being that stable source of support that doesn't have to cling on in fear, that knows that everything's going to be okay. Promise. All right, so I think that pretty soon we're going to get to hear from Zoe, and I'm very excited about that. And thank you so much for having me on. Sorry if I was a little bit of a nervous Nelly, but I really appreciate you inviting me.
Thank you for doing that.
Thanks.
Thank you, Marcella. Okay. Hello, I'm back. We haven't figured out the issue with Gracia Phantom Tides, which I'm very sad about. I was so excited. We were going to be on tour together in July, which of course now is not going to happen. And I was really excited to play a virtual show together. Alas. But I don't know, maybe Gracia's internet will figure itself out. The full moon will work some magic, some crystals will do some charging. Anyway, maybe Phantom Tides will play after me. It could happen. So I'm gonna play a song. I'm gonna play a song that is a bit about loneliness and a bit about feeling like, you know, I think sometimes we can feel like everyone else is having a really good time and we can feel alone in struggle. And I have certainly felt that way before. And I had a realization, and I wrote this song about how we're not alone in it. And I think everyone who's in touch with their feelings sometimes feels deep sadness. And it is a part of life. It is a balance to the exuberant joy that we feel, and one cannot exist without the other. This song is the title track off my last album. It's called Shadow. But how do I play it though? That's how I play it. We are together in feeling alone, unlovable and unknown. We are still searching for where we belong. It is not where we are or where we came from. Everything that we do is an effort to escape the sadness. We seek distraction and affection of light and darkness, shadow. Can't live without light, day. Can't live without night, shadow. Can't live without light, day. Can't live without night. We should remember where light can be found. If it burns too bright, it's sure to burn out. Take rest in darkness, knowing it's just a shadow, and shadows have edges that meet the glow, shadow. Can't live without light, day. Can't live without night, shadow. Can't live without light, day. Can't live without night. Can't live without night. Can't live without night. Shadow. So when I was writing my set list, I was thinking about what songs. I think of most songs as spells, but for tonight, for the full moon, thinking about songs that are intentions that I want to put out into the world in some way, whether they be positive manifestations or acknowledgments of things I think should be acknowledged. And so the next song is a song I wrote with a group of people. I wrote it with my patrons. We do something called the Community Songwriting Project because I find that using song and using music to lift up other people's voices is a really powerful thing. The first time that I did that was when I started collaborating with folks inside a prison where I volunteered. And this project that came out of that, the Prison Music Project, which is an album of songs that are collaborations between mostly myself and incarcerated folks that I worked with. It's 10 years in the making, and it was announced today. The release was announced today, and you can hear two of the tracks on Bum Ba Da Bum 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 Bum, Rolling Stone, True Story, which feels pretty wild. So yeah, go listen to those songs after this show is over. Those stories, though the words of the songs are written entirely by folks that I worked with inside, and the stories are so important to share because I don't believe in incarceration personally, and I can't free the people, but I could free their stories. Where did I got sort of off track, but this next song is also a song where I'm lifting up other people's experiences through song. And this group of people are the folks that are supporting me in making my art. And a lot of them give me as little as $1 per month. I don't ask for a lot. But it's really great to have a community behind me, especially right now when I can't be performing live, which is the main way that I make a living. My patrons are making it possible for me to do what I do. And they also make it possible for me to do projects like the Prison Music Project, where I've been working on it for a decade and I don't get paid. I won't make profits from the sales because it's a benefit album. And I also play a lot of benefit shows. I've been playing them twice a month throughout quarantine, and I'm going to keep doing that. So every other Sunday, I play a benefit concert for something. Okay. Wow. Diatribe. Okay. So this next song, I picked the topic and I presented it to my patrons, and they offered me their experiences, their thoughts, their feelings on the topic. And I wrote this song from that. The topic is consent and consent violations. Pretty heavy one. I was taught to say yes when I meant no. There've been so many times I said stay when I meant go, 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 go away, go away, go away. I'm afraid to smile at any one of you in case you take it as an invitation to do whatever you want to. And I'm afraid to tell anyone your good name is on the line when I say what you've done. I know it's on you, but is my silence to blame for the other two? I was taught to say yes when I meant no. There've been so many times I said stay when I meant go, 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 go away, go away, go away, away. I'm teaching myself that I'm worthy, that I deserve autonomy, that I should choose what happens to my body, that I should choose. I was taught to say yes when I meant no. There've been so many times I said stay when I meant go, 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 go away, go away, go away, away, away. Oh no. I'm just gonna text Phantom Tides to see if, I guess they left. This next song came from a dream that I had. The dream was just one of those dreams where everything feels very real, tangible. And I was making an album, my album Darling Specimens, and that album is produced by Shenandoah Davis, another songwriter. She's an incredible songwriter. And I was in Seattle, where she lives, to work on this album with her. And we had this collection of songs. There were a ton of songs we had to cut, too many songs. But she said, this album needs one more song. It's missing one, even though she was cutting so many. She said, just write a song right now. And I had just had this dream. At your bidding, I fell 50 feet into salt water. Scrambled to hold on or be lost forever. You said it was for my own sake, and watched as I was swallowed in the wave. I knew it once, but still I'm so surprised. You threw that stone and it skipped a million times. How was I supposed to know I would end up in the undertow? weave of rope was hanging off the back of this freightliner, so that I could catch myself and crawl up inside her. I woke and I was alive before I knew if I had survived. I knew it once, but still I'm so surprised. You threw that stone and it skipped a million times. How was I supposed to know I would end up in the undertow? I'll learn to forgive mistakes and be forgiven for the ones I've made. I'll learn to forgive mistakes and be forgiven for the ones I've made. I knew it once, but still I'm so surprised. You threw that stone and it skipped a million times. I knew it once, but still I'm so surprised. So earlier I mentioned this project, the Prison Music Project, that premiered today. Oh, did I mention on Rolling Stone? And you might hear me say that a few more times. I'm very excited about it. You can hear the first 2 tracks on Rolling Stone today and moving forward, but tomorrow you'll be able to hear them other places like my website. And the album pre-order is up, and the album is a benefit for incarcerated and formerly incarcerated communities. This next song is on the album. It's not one of the ones that's being previewed today, so this is an exclusive peek. Except I play it a lot because I love it. It's called All Over Again, and it was written by Ken Blackburn, who is 77 years old and serving life without parole. There's a blue sky outside my window, and there's never a trace of rain. You've been gone so long this time, little girl. I think I'm over you all over again. Yes, I think I'm over you all over again. I no longer think of the loving you must be giving to some other man. I don't even miss that sweet tender kiss. Yes, I think I'm over you all over again. Yes, I think I'm over you all over again. It's true, there are times when my heart stops, when I think I see your face in a crowd. Aside from that, I'm back to normal. Hell, I even stop crying out loud. Maybe someday you'll get tired of leaving. Maybe someday I'll be through with the pain. Till then, I'll just have to tell myself I think I'm over you all over again. Yes, I think I'm over you all over again. The next song I'm going to play feels more like this this manifestation, like this dream manifestation, this social justice fantasy that doesn't have to just be a fantasy. I wrote it about as a reaction of working inside of a prison and working with incarcerated folks and formerly incarcerated folks, because I think I know the popular story is that people in prison are bad people, and that has not been my experience of people in prison. Generally, people who harm people are people who have been harmed and who have experienced trauma. And rather than perpetuating violence with prison by putting people in prison, I think we need to come up with a solution that centers healing and the reducing of harm rather than punishment and the continuation and addition of harm. More harm. Harm and more harm. Let's stop the harm. Just stop. Prison doesn't work. Here's Rise. Ooh, 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 No one should live inside a cage. I don't believe it keeps us safe. Darling, it's all about money. Nothing is too precious precious honey. It's all about the money, honey. Rise, rise, rise. Laying bodies like bricks, building spires. Somebody's building empires, leaving behind a trail of fire. From the ash rises a choir, rises a choir, rise, rise, rise. Muffled voices through the wall, high price paid for a phone call. We amplify as we multiply, so listen as the silence dies. Hear the choir rise, 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 rise. So part of what I wanted to acknowledge with my set tonight is two people that have passed away that that I've written songs about. One of them I've written many songs about, which is my best friend, whose ashes are here and whose ring is here on my finger. Her name was Sophia. This song is called More Like a Home because she was more like a home than a friend. She is around me, her clothes and her jewelry. I wear them every day so I can feel her holding me. Now she's in my dream, talking to me in my sleep. She walks into the room and lays down next to me. I tell her that it's strange to feel her body. You cannot see I have lost a part of me. You wanted me to cry over you the week that she died. You couldn't hear me when I told you I lost a person that was more like a home Sorrows entwined, all tangled in my mind. I lost you both at the same time, realizing you had never been mine. All tangled in my mind. You cannot see I've lost part of me. You couldn't hear me when I told you I lost a person. It was more like a home. I heard the volume crackle during that song, so I'm going to turn myself down in hopes that that doesn't happen. More. Okay. And hopefully you can still hear me. So this next song is about my grandmother, who I talked about in the intro of this show. And my grandmother was a witch, though she wouldn't admit it. I'll tell you about some witchy things that she did. One time I was visiting her, and it was along sort of along my tour route. She lived on a small island off of Vancouver Island in Canada, so it was never that easy to get there, but I did because she was worth it. And I was there visiting her, and before I left, she gave me a crystal. And she said, they say it's good for protection. I don't know if it works, but just take it, would you? She was someone who never stuck strictly to any belief system. She wasn't exactly superstitious, but she thought it could be a thing. So just don't open an umbrella inside, just in case it's a thing. And my grandparents, when they retired, they first moved to Mexico, and my grandfather designed this beautiful house. And after 15 years, they wanted to move back to Canada to be close to the grandkids, and they were trying to sell their house. And they had it on the market for 2 years, and nobody even showed any interest in it. And then my grandmother heard that if you bury a statue of Saint Joseph in the garden upside down, that's good for selling your house. So she did it, and they sold their house like 4 days later. So a few years ago, I was looking at a property, and I was not in a position to buy a property, but I didn't really know anything about buying property at the time, and I just thought I would figure it out. But when I called the real estate agent, I had just like driven past this property and fell in love with it. I didn't know how to. Anyway, there was a sign with a number for a real estate agent, and I called, and she said that it was under contract, which basically means it's sold. I mean, something has to go horribly wrong for that to change. But I was very attached to somehow owning this property, which made zero sense. But I called my grandmother and I said, do something. You don't have to just, you could bury something, you could just think about it. But you're a witch and you're very powerful. So I'm just telling you this so that it's in your consciousness. And the real estate agent called me and she said, well, the weirdest thing happened. The guy who was going to buy this property lost his job. And then I realized I shouldn't mess with witchcraft. And I don't own that property because it turned out I was not in a position to buy a property at that time. but somebody lost their job over it. It's my grandmother's fault. Just kidding. So in January, my grandmother passed away at 94. She was ready. She was ready to go. And my father, her son, sent an email saying that she was definitely passing soon, and she wasn't conscious anymore. Just to let us know. And I called him sort of frantically, like I wanted to be there. And I live in New Orleans. They live on the other side of this continent on a small island in Canada. And my father was like, it's too late. She's not even conscious. Even if you get here in time, she won't even know you're here. But you probably won't get here in time. She could go at any moment. And so then I called the nursing home where she lived, and I tried to get a nurse to bring a phone to her ear so that I could at least say goodbye, and they wouldn't do it. And they were sort of rude to me about it. And so I decided to fly across the continent. And it was January and it was the polar vortex. So my flights were delayed and I had a connecting flight, and it was a really long distance to go. I left at 4:30 in the morning, and I just kept debating about whether I should even go, because it was a lot of money to spend and a lot of distance to travel to not even know if I would make it in time. But I thought I'll regret it if I don't go. And I just really want to be there when she goes, even if she's not conscious. And so I raced across the country and I landed in Vancouver. There's a snowstorm. My brother picks me up at the airport and we drive to the ferry. All the ferries are canceled. The only way to get to this island is by ferry or by seaplane, but if the ferry doesn't go, the seaplane definitely doesn't go. So there's like no way to get to this island, but we just wait at the terminal for hours. And we get on this ferry. And so I left New Orleans at 4:30 in the morning and I got to the nursing home at 6 p.m. And my brother just dropped me off there, and I raced in past the welcome desk. I didn't even acknowledge anyone. I'm just sprinting through the nursing home. And I had only been there once, just to move her in. So it wasn't super familiar, but I moved her into her room. So I knew how to find it, I thought. But I just walked into this room that I thought was her room, and I looked at this woman slumped over in this chair, and it didn't look like my grandmother. So I left the room immediately and walked up and down the halls trying to figure out, am I in the wrong hallway? What's going on? And I went back, and her room didn't have her name on it like it should have had, like it used to have. But the door was still ajar, and I saw her night table that I had moved into that room and put right where it was. And I saw her back scratcher on the night table. And I realized that old woman in the chair that I didn't recognize was my Oma. But I still didn't really believe it. I thought I would recognize her. So I go into the room really carefully. It's definitely her room. There's pictures of me on the wall. And I crouch down in front of the chair because her head is slumped forward. So I have to crouch down to look up at her face. And I didn't recognize her so much by her face, but by the sunspot on her temple and her eyebrows and her hands. Anyway, she was still breathing when I got there. She was not conscious. But I slept next to her because she was sleeping and she was staying in this chair. And so I slept in her bed next to her. And 10 hours after I got there, her breathing changed. And I sat up and held her hand. And I was there when she breathed her last breath. And that's what this song is about. This is my last song. It doesn't seem like Phantom Tides is going to be joining us, unfortunately, because of technical issues. But after this song will be Sister Temperance Tarot. You can tip for this show, and tips are split between the Old Church, which is a beautiful historic venue that we should be supporting because we need venues like that. That's how artists survive. It's by venues like that existing and supporting art. Split between the venue and us and the people presenting and offering to you tonight. So you can see the ways to give right here at the bottom of the screen. Oh, Oma. This is for Oma. It's called Wait. I basically just told you the story already, so I don't even know if I'm going to play this song. I couldn't reach you. They wouldn't let me say goodbye. My father said it was too late. I shouldn't even try. But I kept talking as if you could hear me. Across all this land between, you were listening in your sleep. I flew out of the swamp and over the prairies. I asked you to wait, wait, wait for me. I came from the Gulf, raced over the Rockies. I asked you to wait, wait, wait for me. I ferried across the Georgia Strait. I asked you to wait, wait, wait. I walked into the room, I didn't even recognize you. Your familiar objects were the way I knew. Your head hanging like the limb of a willow tree. With a sharpness I could hear you breathe. Like the wind had carried my message faithfully. And you had waited one day and one night for me. I flew out of the swamp and over the prairie. I asked you to wait, wait, wait for me. I came from the Gulf, raced over the Rockies. I asked you to wait, wait, wait for me. I ferried across the Georgia Strait. I asked you to wait, wait, wait. I fell asleep just as close to you as I could be. The rhythm of your breath, a comfort to me. 5 a.m. I could hear you fading. I held your hand and thanked you for waiting. I searched your chest for a rise and fall. I held my breath and I heard nothing at all. I held your hand and I felt it turn cold. It seemed like time was somehow something I could hold. I flew out of the swamp and over the prairie. I asked you to wait for me. I came from the Gulf, raced over the Rockies. I asked you to wait for me. I ferried across the Georgian Strait. I asked you to wait. I asked you to wait. And she did. And I'm grateful. And this is her crystal. Thanks for being here on this full moon and sharing this night with us. Unfortunately, Phantom Tides was having technical difficulties and could not perform. No, damn it. Just checking on Phantom Tides. So the full moon is playing tricks on us, but we still have Sister Temperance Tarot to close us out with a prayer. And here she is.
Hi, friends, old and new. Wanted to express thanks for that incredible music, Zoe, and thanks to Marcella for the tarot magic, for that spread, and to the old church where I have never been yet, but I hope to one day get to experience a show there. Actually wanted to tell a little story before I dive into the tarot about the last time that I saw Zoe. And I saw Zoe, but Zoe didn't see me. It was in New Orleans, and it was a couple days after Mardi Gras. And Zoe was playing at another beautiful old church that has been converted into a concert hall near the Hotel Peter and Paul. And they asked me to come to the show, and I was starting to feel really sick. And I had dinner plans with a friend that night at the restaurant right next to that church. And I was just like a wreck. I was feeling really, really, really bad. And I thought it was a flu at the time, now realizing that it absolutely could have been COVID. I was never able to get tested. It was pretty bad, and it lasted up until pretty recently. But there was a moment when I realized the church was right there, and I had to poke my head in, even though I was going to be late for dinner. And I opened the door, and I saw in this incredible, majestic, gargantuan space, Zoe, in this ring of light, and their voice was just echoing, and it was so vast and so profound and so powerful, and it gave me such chills. And I wanted to stay, and I couldn't. So it feels like a real gift to get to see Zoe's music tonight. And I got chills and goosebumps listening to those songs. It was just, such a gift. And so grateful that even though we can't go and be in those incredible venues right now, that we still have this way of connecting and of experiencing each other's magic and music through the power of technology, even though it doesn't always work the way we want it to. And I'm really sad not to see Gracia Phantom Tides play, but hopefully we'll get to do this again, and we'll get to see that amazing music as well. So earlier today, I pulled a card for us while I was in ritual space. And I asked the message to come through that we needed for tonight, for this full moon in Scorpio. And the card that I pulled is Strength. I'm using the big version of my deck for you guys, so you can see it really, really well and see this beautiful image. And this is one of my favorite cards in the tarot, um, because it's not depicted by a warrior or a knight in armor with a sword and shield. I love so much that instead strength is depicted by this person, this femme being, approaching this lion, this beast that could destroy her in perfect love and perfect trust. She approaches with no armor, right? No weapon, no sword, no shield, no tranquilizer dart. She approaches this scary thing not without fear, right? I think that a big thing to recognize about strength is that our true strength lies in our vulnerability. And it's something that I'm really feeling right now as there are so many of us, all of us, I think, are really feeling extremely vulnerable right now. It's a really intense and really scary time. And I can speak for myself and really feeling that um and coming to this place where I think it's essential not to pretend that we're not afraid, right? Or not to deny our fear. And I'm seeing a lot of rhetoric and a lot of people being like, "Oh, love is the opposite of fear, and fear is the mind killer, and don't feel afraid." It's like, y'all, this is scary, and fear exists for a reason, right? Um, it's in us to protect us from danger and to tell us how to preserve our life, right? That's what our nervous system is there to do. That's why we actually feel it, right? So it has a purpose, it has a use. And I think the point is to not let it overtake us to the point that we're paralyzed or that we're totally shut down, which I know a lot of us are feeling right now. And I think the big message of this card that I've really been trying to hold, especially today, and it's been, I got to tell you, it's been extremely challenging for me today. I've been struggling a bit today with this full moon. Last night, I just often the night before the full moon, and who knows, maybe even tonight. Although I hope I get some rest tonight. I hope all you do too. Um, I was laying awake, and just the energy sometimes is so much that I can't sleep, and I've just been feeling a lot of those intense emotions. And I love what Marcella said earlier, which I wrote it down because I was just like, oh yes, it's so good. It's so true. Sometimes our feelings feel like they'll kill us, but they won't. And I think the point is to feel it, right? Not to say I'm not afraid or I'm not feeling these things, but to feel it and then to show up anyway, right? And key thing, right? Because strength really has to do with our heart and keeping an open heart. So um how do we stay in our heart? How do we stay in that softness? How do we stay in that vulnerability? How do we stay in that compassion? Right? And I think we're told that compassion and gentleness and softness and vulnerability are weak, and that we're kind of sold this, well, we're absolutely sold this lie by the cultures and systems that we live in, that those more feminine virtues are not actually virtues, but they're liabilities, they're problems. And I want to say that embracing that open heart and that gentleness and that compassion, even when I feel like going in and being a warrior and slashing and burning, which is not always a good look. Uh, in a lot of situations for me, I can say, especially today, I want to stay in a place where I can have an open heart, even when I feel hurt by someone, or even when I'm disagreeing with someone, or even when I'm scared, right? And being afraid and being able to do that anyway, and being able to hold that space for both. That's what I'm calling in for myself tonight. It's what I'm calling in for for all of us, and I invite you to make some space for that. And I want to offer um, a heartfelt prayer. And I don't know if we have time. I know we're kind of running. I don't know where we're at on that. And maybe Sarah or Zoe, you could let me know if we have time for a little prayer from me. And then if I could read another prayer or invocation that I think would be really apt for this evening. Um, Let me know if you guys are around, or maybe I'll just do it. Can't stop me. I don't know. You could probably. Why not? Let's do it. Okay. Oh, Sarah says we have time. I think. Okay, great. I want to call in a prayer for those of us who are grieving and for all of us who know grief. I want to call in a prayer for the dying ones, all the people that are dying alone right now. And I want to call in a prayer for all of the dead, and for all of those who've lost their lives in the recent days and weeks and months since this all began. I want to call in a prayer for all of us who are afraid, and the hope that we'll be able to sit with that fear and acknowledge it in an honest way. And I want to call in a prayer for all of those that are incarcerated in prisons and in camps, in detention camps, and who are being detained and who are incredibly vulnerable. I want to call in a prayer for all of the people who are very vulnerable right now, physically, financially, all the people who don't have homes. And I want to just extend an enormous amount of compassion for everyone who's suffering right now, and to also extend that compassion for ourselves. We can be really gentle and really patient and really extra loving with ourselves as we sit in this space of vulnerability. So I came across this book, The Fruitful Darkness. I don't know if you can see it. It's by Joan Halifax, who is someone I really admire, a Buddhist teacher and anthropologist. And in this book, which is a very appropriate reading for the full moon in Scorpio, I highly recommend it, especially to anyone who does shadow work or chooses to look at the concept of darkness, especially in their spiritual work. And at the end of the book, Joan included this piece from Diane de Prima, and it was written, I think it was written a while back, but it's a prayer and an invocation that I would like to add to the prayer that I just offered. Revolutionary Letter number 68, Life Chant. May it come that all the radiances will be known as our own radiance. The Tibetan Book of the Dead. Cacophony of small birds at dawn, may it continue. Sticky monkey flowers on bare brown hills, may it continue. Bitter taste of early miners' lettuce, may it continue. Music on city streets in the summer nights, may it continue. Kids laughing on roofs, on stoops, on the beach, in the snow, may it continue. Triumphal shout of the newborn, may it continue. Deep silence of great rainforests, may it continue. Fine austerity of jungle peoples, may it continue. Rolling fuck of great whales in turquoise ocean, may it continue. Clumsy splash of pelican in smooth bays, may it continue. Astonished human eyeball squinting through aeons at astonished nebulae who squint back, may it continue. Clean snow on the mountain, may it continue. Fierce eyes, clear light of the aged, may it continue. Rite of birth and naming, may it continue. Rite of instruction, may it continue. Rite of passage, may it continue. Love in the morning, love in the noon sun, love in the evening among crickets, may it continue. Long tales by fire, by window, in fog, in dusk, on the mesa, may it continue. Love in the thick midnight, fierce joy of old ones loving, may it continue. The night music, may it continue. Grunt of mating hippo, giraffe, foreplay of snow leopard, screeching of cats on the backyard fence, may it continue. Without police, may it continue. Without prisons, may it continue. Without hospitals, death medicine, flu and flu vaccine. I'll just an addition or an insert from myself. I really appreciate hospitals, and I'm really grateful for the vaccines that we have and for hopefully the vaccine that is coming. So this is Diane DePrima's poem, but I'm interjecting that because I'm reading it right now, and it's my feeling. Without madhouses, marriage, high schools that are prisons, may it continue. Without empire, may it continue. In sisterhood, may it continue. Through the wars to come, may it continue. In brotherhood, may it continue. Though the earth seem lost, may it continue. Through exile and silence, may it continue. With cunning and love, may it continue. As woman continues, may it continue. As breath continues, may it continue. As stars continue, may it continue. May the wind deal kindly with us. May the fire remember our names. Many springs flow, rain fall again. May the land grow green. May it swallow our mistakes. We begin the work, may it continue. The great transmutation, may it continue. A new heaven and a new earth, may it continue. May it continue. Diane DePrima. So, I wish you all peace and open hearts and sweetness wherever you can find it. Stay in your body, stay in your heart, and sweet dreams on this deep, potent, rich, intense full moon in Scorpio. Many blessings. Stay well, be safe.